Hey, Mike, I'm a Sabres fan, and Zach Benson is the real deal. Do you think he makes the team? And if so, what kind of impact can he have as an undersized guy at only 18? That comes from Ryan. So obviously, Zach Benson is kind of shocked the hockey world. He went 13th overall in the NHL draft this past summer. I'm going to talk about my rankings later where I had him, but I was kind of shocked when he fell all the way to 13 because I thought he was a first sure top 6 talent. He was undersized though, ends up falling in the draft. And he's been killing it in the preseason with the Buffalo Sabres. You look at him, has the most points besides Connor Bedard. He's tied with Connor Bedard for the most points in the preseason this year with 5. Next closest is Nate Danielson at 3, Easton Cowan at 2. So yeah, he's just such a prototypical player in my opinion. Besides the height, obviously, he is a little bit undersized, but he's such a fantastic two-way player. There was a bunch of videos that surfaced from his preseason of him just digging in on the defensive end, not giving up on plays. Even his board work, given his undersized, he's fantastic on the boards. He just fights like hell. I think Johnny Lazarus put it nicely, and he said that he's a goddamn honey badger out there. He just finds the puck, gets the puck on his stick, makes plays. He had that insane no-look pass to Jeff Skinner for the one-timer. That is what you're getting in Zach Benson. In terms of him making the team next year, obviously, they announced this. They sent down Yuri Kolich and Isaac Rosen to the Rochester Americans. So that's obviously a good sign for Zach Benson, considering Kolich was a 2022 first-round pick. Isaac Rosen, I believe, a 2021 first-round pick. So they're clearly believing Benson. They're giving Benson more of that running room to go with it. I thought Yuri Kolich might have been the guy that got that extra roster spot, that 12th roster spot on the Buffalo Sabres, but they seem to really like what they've seen in Zach Benson. So going forward, final preseason game, if he balls out, there's a decent chance that he can make the team. Where he'd slot into the lineup, I think Tyson Jost would probably become the 13th forward on that team. They would probably take Jost out, move Krebs down to the 4th line, have Casey Middlestat probably go back to 3rd line center. He can play center. And then I wouldn't be surprised if they start, I think Benson is more of a traditional left wing, but I wouldn't be surprised if they have Zach Benson on that right wing with Dylan Cousins. And if he does play with Dylan Cousins in like a middle 6, 14, 15 minutes a night, I don't see why he can't put up, if he plays the full season, why he can't put up mid-40s points. I think he is that talented. He was so effective in the WHL last year. He was better than Matthew Savoy, who's the Buffalo Sabres' previous top 10 pick. He had something like 93 points in 60 games in the WHL last year. He's just such a fantastic playmaker, has a very good shot. So I think on that Buffalo Sabres team, he's definitely, at this point, probably going to get the 9 games. I think we can kind of shoot that in if you don't know what I'm talking about. With the way that the CHL and NHL work, a player can play 9 games and it doesn't count towards 1 year of their ELC. So you save an eligibility. For example, I think Matt Barzal with the Islanders played 2 games in 2016, 2017. So they got it. They get to see him at the NHL level, but it doesn't count. You don't burn a year off that ELC compared to some of the college guys. When they come at the end of the season and play 9 games, that burns an entire year off the ELC, which sucks for teams. It's great for the player. It's obviously they have more. They get closer to that extra payday, but for the team, you kind of don't want to burn that ELC. So when it comes to Benson, if he decides, if they think that he's proved it, play him at the NHL level. I think he is. He's not a long-term project. He's more of an NHL, even though his skill level is at NHL level. He definitely might need to bulk up a little bit, but right now I think he is, in terms of skill and speed, he is an NHLer. I don't hate the idea of sending him back to the WHL, just having him absolutely dominate, play 21 to 22 minutes a night. Maybe not 22 minutes a night, but like 19 to 20 minutes a night on the, I think he plays for Wenatchee Wild, used to be the Winnipeg Ice. I don't hate the idea of him just going back to the WHL and murdering it. That might be best for his offensive development. Long term, him having the puck on his stick as much as possible. But if you want to see him at the NHL level, I think he can also keep up with the game. Looking at him, he fell in the draft for some reason. I don't know why. These were his pre-draft numbers. This is NHL expected. Basically, it takes your scoring in a given league, for example, Benson, the WHL, and it projects you as an NHL player. It's your NHL equivalency in that points. So you look at Benson, 27 in his draft year before. Then he had the equivalent of 40 points in the NHL last year. And he was projected to be basically a star by everybody, but people kept on underrating him based on his size. According to Byron Bader's model, He had a 70% star rating. So that's 70% that he would end up having a career zero point 0.7 points per game. And obviously the NHLer probability was around 75%. According to that model, he was a consensus top 5 pick. And even his comparisons by that model had him as Nikita Kucherov, Marner, Thornton, Barkov. I think that might feel a little bit insane, but comparatively, what he did in the WHL was comparative to those eventual stud NHLers. And you look at myself, not to toot my own horn. I had him over Will Smith. Some people had him outside of the top 6, outside of the top 8. I stood my ground. I'm not going to sit here and say that he's better than Leo Carlson or Adam Fantilli at this point. I think that's absolutely ridiculous after just a good preseason. But this guy had all the talent. It just, again, these boomer scouts that just see, he's 5'9", though. He's 5'10". He's such a it's not like I almost just used the P word, but it's not like he's a soft player. He gets into all the dirty areas. He plays like an absolute dog. I think he's already like 180 or 185 at 5'9", 5'10". So he has that physical play style. Yes, he maybe doesn't have that ideal 6'1", 6'2" build, but I don't think the height will really hold him back. He's not as small as like a Cole Caulfield, Alex DeBrincat. So he fell in the draft. He was an utter steal.